you know, you have seen, I hope in the call, you've seen pictures of my new grandbaby. And then there's another picture of Moses Milan and the new grandbaby named Finley. And I have had occasion on a couple of times to be in front of a group of people since she was born, and using my PowerPoint, project her slide on a screen or on a wall or something, and the response when people see it is always the same. Oh, just like that. Oh. And then I show the picture of Moses and Milan and Finley, which was in the call, bigger than life, and they go, oh. It's wonderful. You'd expect it. It happens with every child that is born. Even children that you weren't expecting to look the way they did. You love them and you say, oh. But if I could fast forward 10 years, and if somehow my children or my grandchildren were afflicted with some kind of disease where they didn't grow, and they didn't grow up, and they were still just eating and sleeping and eating and diapers, and you saw a 13-year-old and a 11-year-old and a 10-year-old, and you wouldn't say, oh, you'd say, oh, that's tragic. What happened? What happened to arrest their growth? Why didn't they move on like every other person should? The natural course of events should cause every baby to become a toddler and become a child and a preteen, an adolescent, adult. That's the natural course of things. And I want to look through that lens at our life today as spiritual people and wonder if you remember that time when you first became a believer, or if you're thinking about it, or just even last week when you opened your heart and you wanted Christ to come in. You had that infant joy. Oh, I finally get it. I see what I've been hearing about week after week after week. The Bible means things fresh to me. But I want to just fast forward the clock on you and say, are you growing? Are things happening in you? Are you embracing? Are you developing? Are you nourishing and maturing along the lines of a Christian person? This is a very important question, because how sad it would be if the strength of this church, which exists in its members by God, didn't grow. I'm not talking about numerical growth. That will happen, and that is happening. But I'm talking about spiritual depth. What a tragedy it would be if everybody just remained comfortable in their pews and didn't grow one bit the next year, the next 5, the next 10 years. In the lesson today that I just read, Jesus lays out the kind of life that we're to live. And I'm going to make the case to you that it is this life that causes us to grow. It is this kind of life that makes us happy and joy-filled and fulfilled. It is this kind of life, the kind of life that Jesus lays out here in a couple very simple words. It's this kind of life that you're looking for. And without following His recipe, without following His directions, you'll never find it. You'll keep searching and you won't grow. You'll find yourself in 5 years or 10 years having never matured in your faith. Looking back and finding that you're dealing with the same issues, the same sins, the same guilt, the same shame as you are today. The kind of life that Jesus lays out is the kind of life that's called the disciple life. It is for somebody who really wants to grow and become a mature person of the faith. And I want to go back to that passage. It's just a single verse. You can see it for yourself in Luke chapter 9, verse 23. Open your Bibles, if you would. Just put them on your lap, because I just want to keep this verse in front of you. He says very simply, then He said to them, if any of you would come after me, that if you want to follow me, if you want to become a believer, as I would assume everyone here in this room wants to be. Either you are or you're thinking about it, you're inquiring. I just want to tell you what the life is going to look like. And it's a life that will lead to happiness. Don't trust me, trust him. He says, if anyone would come after me, he must, three things: deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. Deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. Now hold on to that thought. When I first read that this week, the first impression I had was this: that we really don't know how to find happiness and fulfillment and joy on our own. Jesus is going to lead us through these things into a life of happiness and fulfillment, but on our own, we do not know how to find it. But that we want it, that we want happiness, there's nothing wrong with wanting happiness. There's nothing wrong with wanting a life that is filled with joy. In fact, philosophers have over time said this is the natural state of humanity, that we desire it. I have a quote here from Pascal. He said, "All men seek happiness. This is without exception. Whatever different means they employ, they all tend to this end. Your desire, my desire for happiness is not wrong." It's not unusual. Jonathan Edwards, the greatest theologian that this country has ever produced in the 1700s, wrote this: the soul of every man necessarily craves happiness. This is a universal appetite of human nature that is alike in the good and the bad. There is no rational being, he goes on, without a love and desire for happiness. It is impossible that there should be any creature made that should not love happiness. And we, in our own country, have codified this in the Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's endemic to our culture, to our species, to our race. There's nothing wrong with searching for a happy life. But the Bible shows us that while we desire it, we actually don't know where to find it. That's a big question. Every single person in this room desires this life of happiness and joy, but the Bible shows us that we don't know how to find it. Remember the rich young ruler that came along to Jesus? And he said, "I've done this and this and this and this." And Jesus says, "There's one thing you lack. Sell all you have, give to the poor, and follow me." And the man went away sad. And then there's so many other people like the Apostle Paul who embraced the Christian way, who discovered the way. And later on he would write to the church in Philippi. He said, "I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. Have a lot, have a little, doesn't matter to me. I can do all things through Christ, through him who gives me strength." The point I'm making to you is a very powerful point, that you and I desire happiness. We desire joy. Go with that desire. But recognize also we don't know where to find it.
To make a monetary gift that supports the ministries of Christ Church Plano, visit christchurchplano.org.